I'm Aaron Holm. Wanted to thank everybody for coming. I'm not going to talk for long because I think most people came to hear Clay Shirky talk. I'm just going to give you a really quick overview of who we are and what we do, so you can get some sense of, themes for the evening and why we asked Clay Shirky to come speak at our event. The event in general is launching FileSociety. The FileSociety is a new service that we've built, which I'll get into a little bit in terms of what it does, and I'm going to give you guys a quick demo so you can see what it does. I'll take about 10 minutes to do the whole thing. Some quick history on our company. We came out of a creative production background, so this is a quick sort of overview of the different companies that occupy this space, as well as our office in LA and our office in Miami and Brooklyn. I kind of work in this world, which is software and infrastructure. So my part of this puzzle is, we build software and we manage the infrastructure that runs all the software. So we didn't really set out to be like a cloud computing company, but it kind of turned out that way because of the number of assets that we deal with and how fast things have to move these days. So this is just a quick overview of the different companies and locations and what it is that we do. Our mission on the industrial color side is to create unique, easy-to-use software that significantly improves the way people work. That's our mandate's work-based. So other ideas like collaboration and social media and groups come into the fray, but our mandate is really with how people work. So what we've seen over the last while is there's really been a settlement on what it is that it takes to do work. So everything now is pretty much file-based. All the major industries in terms of what they produce and how they work, it's all pretty much now files. You have the last one to really kind of change over was video. It was still running a lot of tape, maybe until about a year or so ago. But now the major studios and pretty much everybody that's producing large amounts of stuff, they're all working with files. And so this has been a big challenge of ours that we've seen over the last bunch of years is the resolution of these files keeps getting bigger, the size of the files gets bigger, and more people need access to them. And then there's a real interesting thing that's happened where now everybody's working in groups. So it takes a group to collaborate and to produce something, and that's really where all this innovation happens. You have innovation comes out of what these groups are working on, and they come up with new problems and they come up with new solutions. It has a lot to do with people working in groups, and there's a constant need for everybody to work faster. So these are some of the fundamentals that go into why we build software and why we would make something versus not make something. People need to work faster and they work in groups. The issue that we saw was there's a major bottleneck to this, and the bottleneck has to do with file transfer. So people are investing in bigger and bigger pipes to the internet and connecting things at higher speed, but the problem is fundamentally the technology that's implemented to do that doesn't even make use of it. So you can double your capacity to the web, but you only really get maybe a third extra benefit. So we didn't think that that was going to wash. So we really started looking into ways to move files faster. The other thing is that point-to-point problem, which is one spot trying to move files, which everybody has to move to another spot, is only one part of it. Everybody's now working in groups, and those groups are distributed. So you have essentially an exponential problem where that, all of these locations need to move things around, and they're all strangled and stifled. So you have a real problem. And in some of these scenarios here, like where I need to move this file, and by the end of it, the connection's so bad that I can't do it, then you end up with a lot of wasteful things like burning DVDs and burning drives and sending these and shipping these, and there's really, kind of thought that there must be better ways to do it. So FileSociety, we created to be an enabler, so a new way of kind of moving files that would let people potentially build new types of businesses and organizations because we're trying to get rid of this major bottleneck and make it better. So this is just a quick example of how the technology works. If you're trying to move a file from New York to LA, and we have an LA office, we have a 10 meg connection in our LA office, and we get maybe 200K of it, and that's pretty standard. I mean, if I'm trying to move something, I'm really only getting a fraction of my pipe. With our technology, you get pretty much the entire pipe. So in our world, our company, just between New York and LA, is working on FileSociety all day long, just to collaborate and to do retouching projects and to do photo projects and different work. And then when you aggregate that, again, across all the different connections that would need to access this stuff, then you get an exponential enabler instead of an exponential stifler. And this is one example, one quick example with a client that we work with. When they were testing out FileSociety, they wanted to get a real-world sense. Well, what is this going to mean for us? These are the files we work with. These are the locations that we have. And they did a test, and they ran a 10 meg file from New York to India, and it took 32 minutes with FTP, and it took 11 seconds with FileSociety. So it's a pretty big big difference, and so that's what we're excited about. I'm going to give you a quick demo before I hand over the reins. This is the system here. As you can see, it's web-based. So the core idea there is obviously that I can access it from anywhere. So I have a directory full of content, and then I have users and I have groups. Just resize it. This is a typical directory structure. Tells me what kind of files I have, tells me how big they are, gives me a lot of rich information about what it is that I'm working on here, and then I'll set up a quick transfer demo. Let's get these. So here's a file. Once I drill into this area here, and if I wanted to give some people access to it, I could do it really quickly, and then this opens up a lot of collaboration opportunities. But the core idea is I'm going to take this file, and I'm going to put one copy of it using FTP. This is coming from an FTP server here. And I drag and drop it over here. It's going to connect to the server. Oh, wrong spot. Let's drive it into here. Connect to the server, and it's going to go and then pull the file down. So here it comes. FTP is getting that file, and I get a progress bar. And that progress bar here will tell me how long it's going to take. And that's a 100 meg file. It's literally the same file that I'm going to pull down here. So now I'll pull it down with FileSociety. And this time I'll send a notification, and I'll send a bunch of notifications to these different people to let them know that the files got there, because this is an important part of a collaborative production process. Download the file, and here I'll put it into a folder on my desktop, and it'll kick off a high-speed file transfer process, and then we'll just compare them. So this file is going to come down in about 20 seconds, and this file is going to come down in about 2.5 or 3 minutes. And so that's kind of the bottom line around what we've built and why we think it's kind of important. It's a big deal. So we've had a lot of people signing on really early and making good use of it. And it's really exciting to see people figuring out how they're going to use it to come up with new opportunities and new ways of doing business. So that's what we're excited about. So I'm going to invite now Clay Shirky to come up, and we're going to swap mics and laptops, and then he's going to give his perspective. Yeah.